Hello and welcome to a new morning briefing video presented by Stein Investments. Today we are almost a bit late, as you can see here, but especially on Mondays I highly recommend to await the first hour of the London session, because in this time all the news from the weekend have to be processed, and this causes usually a shift in positions. And if you see a breakout during the first hour of the London session, it usually doesn't hold. That's why I mostly prefer to await the first hour of the London session and then have a closer look of what is going on in the market. Right now, we can see there has been some movement in the retail trading volume, but besides the New Zealand dollar, which is showing good strength and a rising interest from the retail trader side, there is nothing really interesting to trade. The problem with the New Zealand dollar is that it already reached 110% of its ATR, and if you have a look at the FX power lines here, then we can see that this move started way earlier. The New Zealand dollar started rising here, and here the Aussie dollar confirmed this strength by moving in the same direction. And this is especially interesting because both of these currencies are highly correlated. And if both of them move in the same direction, you will usually see a longer lasting trend than if only one of these currencies is moving. Here at 6.15, the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar have been both above 35, which is kind of a threshold for me in considering these correlated currency moves. And we can see 6.15 has been here, so with a stop loss right below here, we would have benefited from this move, which was for the Asian traders, because that's way before our usual working times. But anyway, you can see the New Zealand dollar moved pretty strong in one direction, and that's what we can also witness at all the other pairs. Where was 6.15? Was around here. So yeah, stop loss here, maybe here if you want, and then it went down to the 80% ATR. So yeah, this would have been a great opportunity for our Asian traders. And if the volume doesn't provide you any trend at all, it's always a good idea to have a closer look at the FX power lines here in this 8-hour strength analysis and see if some correlated currencies move in the same direction. Besides that, our main issue is currently the falling total trading volume, and there seems to be some certain restraint in the market, and retail traders are currently not willing to open any new trading positions. And the main reason for this caution in the market is probably the upcoming publication of the consumer price index and the producer price index, while this one is more important for the US and the Fed, which then has to decide how to continue with their money policy. So these CPI news or PPI news is, in my opinion, in the same category as the central bank news events from its importance and from the impact to the market. And so I highly recommend to be cautious around these publications. The problem is that most of the traders have currently no reason to invest and position themselves into one direction before this news is out, and so we might not see any serious growth here in total trading positions, and that is perfectly fine in my opinion, because I prefer to be cautious upfront such news as well. If we have a closer look at our currency overview, we can see at a glance that the Canadian dollar is currently extremely weak here, and the Japanese yen and the British pound are showing some buy dynamic. So this would provide us two maybe interesting opportunities to trade the Canadian dollar weakness. And if we have a look at the Canadian dollar against the yen, we see perfect breakout setup with double-sided dynamic. Dynamic is if the short-term 4 hours line is either below in a downtrend, below the thick 1 week line in a downtrend, or above the thick 1 week line in an uptrend. In this case, this condition is fulfilled on both sides. So the Japanese yen is showing a very good dynamic to the upside, and the Canadian dollar is showing a good and now very good dynamic to the downside, and that's what we can witness here. If you want to trade this opportunity, there is still some space left because the Canadian dollar against the yen reached only 69% ATR. And so if you took this trade in the first wave, you would have used this resistance level as stop loss. Right now, you can use this one. So let's place a sell trade here with a stop loss above the last resistance. 80% ATR is not that bad, but it would provide us a negative risk and reward ratio. So we'll see if it can reach the 100% ATR, and if not, we can still close this trade manually. As we all know from our past videos, we had the best trading opportunities always when using the easy scalping strategy. And to determine what I can expect from that day and if there are potential setups, I browse through the charts and analyze symbol by symbol to see if there is any potential easy scalping setup, and then I note the currency pair names and just wait for the alert if there is any potential trading opportunity. So I can highly recommend setting up a chart like this. The template is in our morning briefing template file you find in our central Steinvestments page, and then browse through every symbol and have a look if there is a potential trading setup waiting for you. Maybe not right now, but during the next hours. And this helps you to improve your timing, to know exactly when to do what, and when it's fine to be away from the desk and do something completely different because there is no potential opportunity in sight. Last but not least, let's have a look at our non-forex symbol analyzer, starting with the Bitcoin, which is currently ranging. As you can see, there is a pretty fresh support level here formed 10 hours ago, and the Bitcoin seems to be in a pretty strong downtrend here in long term and almost no dynamic to the upside. So let's move on to oil, which is neutral with some slight upwards dynamic. Here's a pretty solid support level, but also resistance, and we'll see in which direction oil will break out during the next hours or maybe tomorrow. The Dow Jones is currently in a pretty strong and dynamic downtrend. There are new resistance levels. I wouldn't trade it right now because this is New York pre-market, and we'll see what happens as soon as New York opens in a few hours. The situation on the German DAX is long-term a neutral trend because the up move seemed to stop at least for a moment, and it hit this support level perfectly, which seemed to slow down the down move that is currently in place. But we can also see we already reached 134% ATR, so there's nothing for us to trade right now. And with a neutral long-term trend, it's Also unclear in which direction this will go the next days. As I said previously, please take care of the inflation numbers that will published for the US on Wednesday and on Thursday. This will definitely influence the market, and I highly recommend to stay at the sideline if you are not sure what to trade. That said, I wish all of you a profitable day and a profitable week, and please keep in mind, if you don't trade and keep your money on the safe side, it's also a win. That's it. Have a nice day. See you in the next one. Bye bye.